I am Jessica Butts. Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast, where I help you learn to be unapologetically who you are and live your life from the front seat through personal development, self-awareness, and real and raw conversations about life, love, and business. I'm a former psychotherapist and couples counselor turned author, speaker, coach, and lovingly, well, I hope so anyway, been nicknamed Jessica Kickbutts because I believe sometimes we need hand-holding and sometimes we just need to be told the freaking truth, even if it hurts a little. So each week I'll be sharing truth bombs, life lessons, powerful interviews, and intuitive insights to empower you to get up, show up, and live your life in a new, powerful, authentic way. So if you're ready to climb into your front seat and embark on a journey of total transformation, you have come to the right place. Start your engines. Let's do this. Beautiful front seat lifers, it is your host Jessica Butts, and as usual I am beyond excited to be here today, and I apologize for the little bit of the echoey noise, but I am in a conference room. It's just one of those weeks. It is we all have them, entrepreneurs, mothers, busy women, like we just have the weeks where we just gotta fit in when we can fit things in. So I am doing a podcast in the storage room of the hotel where I'm hosting my girl boss meeting. That's just straight up reality. There's about 400 chairs around me, a bunch of garbage, and a bunch of storage bins, and I am sitting in a chair squished onto a table with my laptop and my microphone, and that's what I got for you this week. So it is an awesome episode, so stay tuned, but I do apologize for the little bit of the echoey, wonky noise. But again, hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. Can I get an amen to that? So today's episode, my friends, is a question I get literally every single time I either do a speaking gig, I do an event, I do a workshop, I do a corporate training, anything. Tuesday, I did a corporate workshop. This is so brutal, by the way. This is freaking brutal. So I have this amazing client. She has an interior design company. She's fabulous and has this great staff. And get this, I have done their corporate trainings before. She asked me to go to Cabo, all expenses paid, and stay at Flora Farms. Who has been to Flora Farms? It's off the charts amazing. And they asked me to come do their training there, but I couldn't because I have my wonderful groups, which I absolutely love them, but it was the worst timing ever. And then to boot, it is pouring ass rain in Seattle right now. So I'm doing this training on Zoom. Yesterday, it's snowing outside my window. Today it's pouring, and they're in fucking Cabo San Lucas at Flora Farm. So, you guys are totally not throwing me a pity party, but I'm throwing myself a little pity party right now. And now I'm in the storage closet. This is just the reality of life. I mean, you moms, I don't know how you guys do it. Like, you guys get what I'm throwing down. Like, entrepreneurship, motherhood. Again, I'm not in mom. I don't know how you do it. Hats off, ladies. Hats off. But this is one of those weeks. I was at Disneyland last week. Again, no one's crying me a river. I don't expect you to. But had a training yesterday, didn't get my podcast done because my throat went out because I was screaming and yelling too much at Disneyland, as I should have been. It was awesome. And now I'm here sitting in a storage closet while my clients are masterminding. So that's the really unnecessary background, but I'm a little bit exhausted because I've been coaching all day. So on that note, I should probably get through this before my voice fails me. So today's episode... I'm losing my mind. Okay. So I get asked this question literally every single time. I got it asked yesterday when I was doing the corporate training, when I'm speaking events, workshops, my own event, corporate trainings, anytime I talk about personality type, 100% of the time this comes up because it's very, very common. is, what do I do if I can't figure out my personality type? So that's what today's episode is about, because I'm about to go off on a huge series for the entire month of February, part of March, where I'm going to start talking about personality type and relationships. But the first thing is, if you're having trouble figuring out your personality type, what do you do to figure it out? And I have 4 main tips for you today. Let me back up though. It's totally normal. It's 100% completely normal to not know fully what your type is. So 75% of the population has trouble figuring out one of the letters of the 4 dichotomies. So again, 75% have trouble with introversion, extroversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judging, and perceiving. Again, that percentage, 75%, have trouble with one of those. So they can't decide if they're an INFP or an ENFP or an ESTJ or an ESFJ. So there's lots of different variations. And again, it's a very, very normal thing. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people. I actually don't know the statistics on the percentage of people that have a slight preference on one or multiple of their dichotomies. But the most common is there's, again, a huge percentage of population that one of them they can't figure out. So today's episode is to help you figure out what that is. So there's 4 main things that you need to do. Number 1 is asking yourself, when did you take the assessment? So I have said this for years. In fact, at my event in November, and most of my clients, I don't even have them take the MBTI anymore, the actual Myers-Briggs type indicator. I'm sorry, Myers-Briggs, you know I love you. But here's the deal with the MBTI, is that while it's obviously amazing, I mean, I'm completely obsessed with it, I don't know and I can't regulate when people are taking the assessment. So if you are trying to get the most accurate read on you as a human being, I can't dictate when you're doing that. So if you're at a job that you hate and you take the MBTI at work during a terrible day, or you hate your job, I guarantee 100% it's not going to come out accurate because you're in that environment. Or you just got in a fight with your spouse, or someone cut you off at work, or you're super stressed out, or you're just tired or pissed off or whatever. It's not an accurate assessment of you as your best self. So what you're actually going to get is a reading of your back seat. Let me say that again. You're going to get a reading that's more in alignment with your back seat, which is the exact opposite of who you normally are. So imagine yourself, you're at a job and your company says, hey, I want you to take this assessment. You currently hate your job. Let's just, that would be terrible, but there's lots of people that do. And then your company says, take this assessment. Well, you're begrudgingly going to do it. You're probably pissed off. You're already in your back seat. You're going to take this stupid thing, pissed off, irritated, annoyed, and you think you're going to get your most accurate reading. You're absolutely not. And so that happens a lot of the time. And then people are like, well, this isn't accurate. I don't know what this bullshit is. This is totally not my reading. So that's the number 1 tip, is you have to take the assessment when you're most yourself. So that might be first thing in the morning. It might be after a bath. It might be after you play with your kids or while you're on vacation. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to assess it. However, the MBTI, the actual Myers-Briggs type indicator, actually costs money and you have to have a certified professional. So of course I have the capability of giving that to people, but it's not always something that people can do. Only my private clients can do that with me, just because it's somewhat hard to manage. It's expensive and those kinds of things. So the other way to figure this out, and in my opinion is way more accurate, is to actually do a self-assessment. So both of my books are a form of a self-assessment. You can go back and listen to all the podcasts about introversion, extroversion, sensing, intuition, thinking, feeling, judging, and perceiving, and do a self-assessment. Like, choose the one that's most accurate to you. You can go to my event. You can read books. You can go, here's the other option. You can go to, the squad, the Front Seat Squad. There's so many. I think there's 40 plus. Not even. I think there's 60 plus. I should probably know that. Videos already in the squad. So you can just geek out, watch all the stuff, and do a self-assessment. Here's why it's more accurate. Or get on YouTube for that matter. I mean, shit, there's probably hundreds and thousands of videos, but you're listening to mine. So hopefully like what I'm throwing down. So I'm so tired. I'm sorry. This is hilarious. So you want to get the most accurate reading, and the self-assessment is the most accurate because you can take your time and you can choose when you're going to take it. And I have this happen every single time I do a training or something, is that someone says, which is very lovely, is that you explained it in a way that I've never gotten it before. And any good Myers-Briggs expert, myself or anybody that's, halfway decent at their job, hopefully can explain it to you better than taking a either or questionnaire. And that's what the MBTI is. Again, it's fabulous, but it's a pick this word over this word versus somebody like myself or another person like me explaining it to you in a different way. So I hope that makes sense. It's basically like this or this, or let me talk to you about it in a way that you might comprehend in a different way. Obviously, you're going to get more out of it that way. So a book, a video, this podcast, someone doing a workshop for you, the Front Seat Life event, whatever it is, having somebody explain it to you in a more thorough way, you're just going to get it in a completely different way. So that's number one tip is when you take it, make sure you're most yourself. I guess those are two tips. I'm going to extend this. There's more tips. One is, when do you take it? And number two is this self-assessment is actually way more accurate than just taking a quiz. Because again, we can't dictate that. Okay. So that's number 1 and 2. I've made it 2 now. Hey, Front Seat Lifers, do you know that I do a thing every year and it's called the Front Seat Life event? One of the things that I am not great about, and I wish I was better at this, but we can't be good at everything, is I am not great at talking about my event for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's this weird, funny thing. It's just, I'm not a great, air quotes, selling person. I am just great about giving the content. So here's the deal. I have an event one time a year because it's a ton of work. Anybody who does events knows how much work it is. I pour all of my heart, all of my soul, all of my energy into it. It is once a year. It is called the Front Seat Life event. And this year it is November 4th, 5th, and 6th, the evening of the 4th, all day Thursday and all day Friday in the Seattle area at the gorgeous, gorgeous Sheraton Grand in downtown Seattle. It's easy to get to. Everything is right there. You can walk to Pike Place Market. You're going to meet all these amazing women. And if you're hearing anything on the podcast over the entire year that you're like, holy cow, I want to know more about this. I want to bring my daughter. I want to bring my spouse. I want to bring my colleagues, my team workers, anything. This is the one time a year that I do a live event, and I would be honored to have you there. So go to my website, jessicabutts.com. It is under the events. If you just hit the navigation bar and scroll down to the bottom, it is called the Front Seat Life event. It sells out every single year. And this year, I'm just starting it earlier than normal. So if you are interested in doing the once a year Front Seat Life event, where we talk about everything that I'm talking about the podcast, yet in person, and you want to meet other amazing women, you want to meet myself, you want to hug, you want to do all the things, that is what this event is for. It's big enough that all the introverts can kind of hide in the back, or I actually have a lot of introverts that are always nervous, like, oh, I don't want to go to one of those events. I promise you, I understand personality type enough that I am never, ever, ever, ever going to expect anybody to be anything other than their awesome, magnificent self. I mean, for God's sake, my tagline is be unapologetically who you are. So I'm going to let you be exactly that. So it's big enough that you can hide if you want to hide, and it's small enough that I can hug every single person there. So go get yourself signed up, go get yourself a ticket, let it be the gift to you this year. And I don't know about you, but most of you are intuitive types. I know that I love to have something to look forward to. So if you go get it now, you will know that you've got something to look forward to. I will see you there. All right. Here's number technically 3. It's on my list of notes. It's number 2, but I've just made it 3. So number 3 is once you've done the self-assessment, taken the assessment online, however you have done it, you've gotten some letters. If you are like 75% of the population, you have one of the letters that you can't decide between. Here's the next thing to do if you can't figure out your type is read both whole letter types. I personally love personality pages. I think they're the best one online. I actually didn't even rewrite mine. I just used theirs with their permission because I think they're the best ones. You can Google, all of this and find it out. It's on my website. There's all kinds of information in there, but go read the whole letter type for the 2. And it's not normally more than 2. It's almost always just 2. So again, if you can't decide if you're an ENFJ or an ENFP, go read both of them. And I guarantee you, you're going to read one and go, kind of. And then you're going to read the other one and go like, oh, holy shit, this is totally me. And then And so that is the next tip number 3. And it's almost foolproof. I'm going to give you 2 more tips, but that one in particular is almost foolproof. I don't have very many people read the whole profile of the 6. So there's 16 different types, read 2 of them and not know. Almost everybody is like, oh, yep, no, that's totally me. And that one just close, but no cigar. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is take multiple quizzes. So I have one on my website. It's jessicabutts.com / no, I keep saying that wrong. My podcast guy, James, was like, sweetheart, it's not / He didn't call me sweetheart. That wasn't very nice. He said, Jessica, like you should. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. This is hilarious. He did not call me sweetheart. Because that's totally inappropriate. He said, Jessica, it's not / it's actually /. So I said to him, can I just start calling it /? Because as a non-detailed person, and 90% of you guys listening to this podcast are in the same boat, we don't know what fucking / it is anyway, do we? I don't know if it's / or floor. There's only one / right? On your phone, or is there only one? I don't think there's more than one. I'm losing it. / Jessica Butts / oh my God, now I'm really losing it. jessicabutts.com / quiz. Or technically, jessicabutts.com / I swear to God, I'm not drunk. I'm actually still working. Quiz. jessicabutts.com / quiz. That's what it is. Go take that one. Then go take, all the silly ones. I mean, you'll probably get a pretty accurate reading just from mine. But if you feel like you need to, take multiple. When I do workshops or at my event or whatever, and people want to actually take the MBTI, I actually make them do a self-assessment. So we do a full day self-assessment at my event in November, which is totally awesome, by the way. And then I have them also take the one on my website that that one, the /1, so that you can compare the two. Because so often, right, we get told, oh, this is such a, it's the MBTI. It's gotta be accurate. And most of the time, it's actually not accurate because people are not taking it when they're in their front seat, because so many people are actually in their back seat. So that is number 4, is take multiple assessments. And I will add to this one as well. Go watch some videos, go to YouTube, get into the Front Seat Squad. It's free. There's a shitload of awesome videos in there just sitting there waiting for you to go check out the content, and go watch them. I bet you would watch 3 or 4 of the videos and be like, okay, wow, I have a whole new idea of my personality type, because I'm being told it in a different way, especially for us intuitive types, right? As I've said, this entire podcast for the year plus I've been doing this, is that intuitives in particular are not given a quiz or an exam or whatever, or an assessment, and then told to be a certain way. We like experiential learning. We like somebody like myself, or whoever you end up doing this with. We like to hear it in a different way. We either like to read stories like there are, in my books and other books, or we like to watch videos, or we like to see someone present it to us in a way that we can relate to it. A quiz, again, my quiz was pretty funny, but the MBTI is not very experiential. It's more, and it has to be that way, obviously, because it's, a tool. And so again, that's another way of of figuring it out. So the last way, this is a really, really big one. The last way, number 5, I've given you 5 different ways to figure out what to do if you don't know your personality type. Number 5 would be your baby in the back seat is always an indicator. So especially for introversion and extroversion. So if you think you're an ambivert, number 1, or you're unclear if you're an introvert or an extrovert, go specifically take the quiz on my website, because I created the front seat, back seat. So you're never going to hear that anywhere else, because I made it up and created it. Is go take the quiz on my website, which, God, I'm not going to fumble through that again. jessicabutts.com/quiz. I almost did it again. And on there, you will get your results, which they're not going to be emailed to you. You have to screenshot it. But at the bottom, I tell you your entire car. So I tell you your driver, your co-pilot, your drunk uncle, and your baby in the back seat. The point of that is, when you read the baby in the back seat, that will clarify whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Because if your baby in the back seat retreats, that means you're an extrovert. If your baby in the back seat screams and yells and lashes out, that means you're an introvert. So if you don't have any idea what I'm talking about with that one, you certainly will when you take the assessment. But my hope was, in this short-ish podcast today, that those 5 things that I gave you. Number 1, when to take it. You've got to be in your front seat. You've got to be your best self, your most like yourself. Number 2 is a self-assessment is always more accurate. And again, you can do that through my books, YouTube's, the event. I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff out there, but I obviously know what I'm doing. Number 2 is read both full types. That's number 3. Number 4 is, take multiple assessments. And then number 5 is read the baby in the back seat. So again, there's so much to type. As I was talking about this with the group yesterday that I was down in Cabo, which was killing me. I say, this is the tip of the iceberg. And so for the coming weeks, I hope that you are, enjoying this podcast. I hope that you're learning things about it, because we are about to get into content that I've kind of never gotten into before because it's so juicy. So my original content was Live Your Life from the Front Seat, the book and all of this content. Then I went into entrepreneurship and talking about don't do stuff you suck at based on your personality type. In fact, I just did a whole bunch of hot seats in my Girl Boss coaching program. And the very first question I ask everybody is, what is your personality type? Because it matters. So I had one ENFJ up there and one INFJ up there, and they get different guidance on their business based on their personality type. And we all have to do that. There is not a one-size-fits-all coaching. There is not a one-size-fits-all way to do business. We have to do it the way that we need to do it. So the introvert, the INFJ, she needs to run her business differently than this ENFJ. So, and then now the new content is really this love me for who I am content. This is the relationship content that I have been somewhat putting off because it's so much. It's so juicy. It's so in depth, but I'm ready. So the next few weeks, for those of you who are loyal listeners, thank you so gosh darn much. Thank you so much for that. For those of you who are loyal listeners, it is coming up. It is going to be magnificent. I'm going to do some myths, which are going to be a lot around relationships. So the next few weeks will be introversion and extrovert. I'm done. I'm done. I can't talk anymore. You know what I'm talking about. All the dichotomies, the myths around them, and how this shows up in our acceptance of the opposite type. So whether that's friendships or, familial relationships, moms and dads and sisters and brothers and all the things, or our intimate partners or our kids for that matter, your kids. I don't have any kids, but all the relationships in our lives and how we are going about accepting them by debunking some of these myths. I'm also going to do an episode in the next coming weeks, primarily just because I want to play this song really bad on the episode. I want to talk about when we have a hole in our bucket. And obviously I'm going to play your hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. Yep, I'm done. All right, I'm about to lose my brain. All right, love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful. Hey, go into the squad and introduce yourself. I want to know your type. I want to know if this helped you. I'm sitting in a weird conference room talking into a microphone, and one of my core values in life is connection, and this doesn't always feed that for me. I'm educating, but I'm not connecting. And so that's what I want to do in the squad is I want to connect with you. So come in there. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us your personality type. Tell us how the podcast has helped you. And then once a month, I'm doing some awesome happy hour Q&A. We're having some drinks, and answering all your questions. We're connecting. It's really quite lovely. It's 90 minutes of just awesomeness. So can't wait to see you. Bye, guys. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.